Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. An overheated fluorescent light is seen as the likely cause of a fire that caused a massive blackout in the New Territories in June. A couple have been cleared of conspiracy to rape their foreign domestic helper. And the government takes action amid fears that COVID cases could go past 10,000 a day. The Yuen Long cable bridge fire that plunged large parts of the New Territories into darkness in June was probably caused by an overheated fluorescent light. The bridge is no longer in use, and replacement work will be completed within 2 years. Janice Low reports.
2 months after a cable bridge fire caused the worst blackout in the northwestern New Territories in decades, CLP Power finally released its investigation report. On the night of June 21st, around 175,000 households in Yuen Long, Tuen Mun, and Tin Shui Wai went without electricity. CLP officials said it was very likely that an overheated fluorescent light near the bridge along Quang Yip Street in Yuen Long caused the fire.
The fluorescent lights inside the cable tunnel on the ceiling, which caught on fire first, affected the communication cable underneath it, and the fire spread to the transmission power cable. And after that, then the fire spread across the bridge.
But the electricity provider admitted that there's no way to confirm, as the fire was so severe that all the evidence was in a very bad shape. There were 2 backup sources for power supply, but one was damaged before the accident, and CLP could only rely on the other to restore electricity. Although supply was fully restored 13 hours after the fire, 13,000 households suffered another outage 2 days later, as the repair team was only able to fix the power provided by the backup supplies. CLP has carried out risk reduction measures, including fire retardant coating and replacing all fluorescent lights in cable bridges. The cable bridge that was damaged is no longer in use. Instead, CLP has laid temporary cables to restore the electricity system. They will be replaced with permanent cables within 2 years. Janice Low, HKIBC.
A divorced couple accused of conspiring to rape their foreign domestic helper have been found not guilty. A High Court judge said the jury's unanimous verdict was based on the quality of the evidence. Joanna Ho reports.
The 7-member jury acquitted Chen Chim-tek and his former wife Lai Chi-sen of all charges after deliberating for 4 hours. High Court Judge Alex Lee said the verdict was based on the quality of the evidence and not the prosecutor's performance. The couple were accused of conspiring to rape their Filipino helper in a flat at Hong Fook Estate in Yuen Long in January 2018. Chen was charged with rape and attempted rape, while Lai was charged with aiding and abetting rape and indecent assault. Both pleaded not guilty. The helper had told the court that Lai forced her to enter the couple's room, where Chen raped her with Lai helping to sexually arouse her husband. She also accused Lai of groping her. The male defendant claimed that he was sexually stimulated after flirting with the helper in the kitchen. He then offered $100 to invite the helper, who nodded with a smile, to have sex in his room while Lai was having a shower. Chen said they were caught red-handed when Lai saw him paying the helper another $50. Lai's lawyer told the court that the defendants gave the same version of the incident to police, while the helper was inconsistent in her evidence. The 2 defendants divorced 3 days after the incident. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
Security Chief Chris Tang has denied that Hong Kong is turning into a human trafficking hub. This followed cases of Hong Kongers being lured to Southeast Asia by job and romance scams. Tang said the SAR has a mechanism to identify illegal immigrants and other suspicious people, and to ensure there's no human trafficking. His comments came as he announced that overall crime cases in the first half of the year increased by 1.8% from last year to 31,500. Deception cases accounted for 40% of the total. The government is stepping up testing and quarantine measures amid fears that COVID cases could exceed 10,000 a day. While Health Chief Lo Chung-mau denied that a shorter hotel quarantine led to a rise in cases, he said further relaxation is not realistic. Macy Moore reports.
Health Secretary Lo Chung-mau said from Sunday, people have to take a rapid antigen test within 24 hours or a PCR test within 48 hours before attending banquets. They have to show a photo of the result to restaurant operators. A banquet will be considered as more than 8 people sitting at a restaurant table. Lo said infected people who live with those in high-risk groups will be sent to isolation facilities. Infected people who are 70 years old or over, who have not been vaccinated or had only one jab, will be sent to isolation facilities designated for the elderly. The new measures came as Hong Kong recorded 7,835 new infections, including 170 imported cases. Lo dismissed suggestions that the recent surge was due to the shortening of hotel quarantine for arrivals from 7 days to 3. But the government is keeping its options open.
There's no reason that the government can promise that we will not introduce other measures to control emerging infectious disease. Further opening up is not a realistic option at this point.
Lo noted an increase in hospital admissions and deaths. Another 322 COVID patients were admitted to hospital today, taking the tally to 2,324, while there were 7 deaths. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Despite a high COVID caseload, the hospital authority revealed that less than a third of about 100 patients referred to private hospitals daily are transferred successfully. A representative of the private sector blamed the low rate on a number of factors. Joanna Ho reports.
Private Hospitals Association Chairman William Ho cited the situation at St. Paul's Hospital, which he manages, saying only about 40% of the patients the hospital authority wanted to transfer had been sent over successfully. Health Chief Lo Chung-mau recently urged private hospitals to take in more non-COVID patients to alleviate the pressure on the public healthcare system. But Ho said several factors, including patients' willingness and administrative difficulties, should be taken into account. For instance, patients may think it's cumbersome to transfer, especially if they can be discharged soon. And some public hospital doctors might suddenly reject a move if a patient's condition changes. Ho accused some public hospitals of being negligent in sending over patients' information, saying there were times when a transferred patient had to go back for examination because of missing documents. Hospital Authority Chief Executive Tony Ko, meanwhile, said about 100 patients were referred to private hospitals every day, but usually only 20 to 30 could be sent over. He urged private hospitals to act faster, saying they sometimes took a long time to decide whether to accept a patient. Ko said it's hard for public hospitals to wait a day or two because of a quick patient turnover. Lo, meanwhile, said he understood the administrative difficulties encountered by both sides, but stressed that figures don't lie. He said of the 364 beds offered by 13 private hospitals, only about 55% were used, while 3 hospitals did not receive any transfers. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
A long-running audit dispute between China and the United States might end soon, with the issue being resolved in Hong Kong. Beijing has reportedly told Chinese firms listed in New York to get ready to transfer staff and documents to Hong Kong. U.S. regulators are expected to check the documents in the SAR. Beijing has been reluctant to let foreign companies scrutinize Chinese firms on security grounds, but there have been signs that it wants the issue to be settled soon. Hopes of a breakthrough in the audit row helped the Hong Kong stock market continue its upward momentum. Food delivery platform Meituan gained 2.6% before reporting a 16% year-on-year rise in second quarter revenue to 51 billion yuan. PetroChina jumped 3.3% after a record first-half profit. The energy giant benefited from higher prices and an increase in its oil and gas production. The Hang Seng Index closed 1% higher. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng ended the week up by 201 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tencent lost 80 cents, but Alibaba was up $2, while Meituan was up $4.60. Kuaishou Technology was down $3, BYD was up $2.80, while AIA was up 50 cents. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro's at 7.84, pound sterling 9.27, while the Australian dollar at 5.47. Over in Europe, the London FTSE is currently up by nearly 10 points. On to the weather now. Fine and very hot tomorrow apart from isolated showers. Temperatures will range between 28 and 33 degrees, peaking at 34 degrees on Sunday as we brace for another heat spell. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Friday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Good evening.